So, have you ever worked across multiple domains as a technology provider in your career? So, it could be that you're working in X domain today and suddenly you get an opportunity to work in another domain. I'm sure many of us have got that opportunity. So, today's video, I'm going to talk about what I have conceived as the Know Your Domain or the KYD model. So, I will explain what exactly is this model. And the purpose of this model is to make this journey a little easier, not to commit the mistakes which I did when I transitioned from one particular domain to another domain. I hope you will like this video. I would be happy to know your feedback on this video. What are your thoughts on this? And yeah, so let's move ahead around the KYD model. Before that, a quick introduction about me. Ashutosh Bhattodekar here, working as an enterprise agile coach. And I have an experience of around 25 plus years. And this experience comes across multiple domains. So be it energy, be it entertainment, be it BFSI, or for that matter, telecom. So I have worked across these domains under various roles in my career. So in some domains, I have worked as a tester. In few domains, I have worked as an agile coach. In few of them as a project or a program manager. So what is this domain all about? Domain, as we know, is a vertical tower or an industry segment wherein there are some core business functions which are running. So as you can see in this slide, we see that like if it is a BFSI domain, there would be some business elements related to wealth banking or mutual funds or personal banking or corporate banking. If it is an entertainment domain, the core business of an entertainment domain is to produce content across various platforms. So it could be a television content, it could be a movie content, or it could be the newly in vogue OTT content what is there. Same for energy and same for a telecom domain. So these are nothing but business streams which actually is a cash cow of the enterprise. So for every enterprise, these streams are nothing but the sources of earning revenue or money. Now, any technology solution you're going to implement in this, whether it could be through a captive, it could be through a technology partner or through IT services company, this obviously will have certain technology roles which have to intermingle with these business streams. So I could be a project manager, I could be a program manager, an agile coach, a product owner, or for that matter, a scrum master. But ultimately, whatever solution I'm going to do, it has to have that business element to it. It cannot exist in an isolation by itself. So in a way, this model depicts the marriage between the business and the technology. And the strength of this marriage lies in the fact that how strongly this bond is created. And many challenges we see is that this bond really doesn't strengthen itself. The the team continues to think from a technology perspective. The business team is unable to articulate their requirements properly to the technology team. And as a result, we get into that constant conflict between these two layers. And the impact of this is that the final outcome is not an outcome which the business wanted in the first place, or it is not monetizing the revenue from a business point of view. And this obviously results in a blame game. So how do we avoid this? I feel that as technology people, we do have a sense of responsibility which we need to carry. We cannot just say that I'm only going to do a Java coding or a C++ or a Angular.js coding, right? I need to also understand what the pain points of the business are. What is business demanding here? What is a typical problem which a business is facing in my domain? So it is very important for me as a technology person to empathize with the real business needs of the business here. So what could be those steps, those baby steps you could be taking? And that is how the KID model was conceived. So it is KYD, but the analogy which I'm trying to give here is from a kid, a small kid trying to learn some new skills or trying to learn something new in his or her journey towards growth. So the basic step here is the fundamental step is you start at a ground zero level. Do not assume anything here. Start with the premise that you don't have any knowledge about the domain where you are working. And then when you start with ground zero, try to ask those questions. Try to be curious enough to ask those questions. Okay, why is this a problem? can't it be solved in a particular way? Again, don't try to impose a technology on day one. Try to understand the problem, the origins of the problem, the root cause of the problem, and then try to figure out how technology can be an enabler to solve this problem. Be inquisitive as you move along this journey. Try to be more inquisitive, try to ask more powerful and probing questions to the various stakeholders. Then try to create some use cases or scenarios from your side. And these need not be a successful use case scenarios. These could also be a failure scenarios which you will try to create. And then you will try to understand or figure out what could be the solution for these use cases. What will work, what will not work from these use cases perspective. Pick up a mentor and a guide. I think that's a very, very important step. What is there? Try to pick up a business person or a business lead or a business analyst from the company, from the organization where you are transitioning, and try to understand the business right from the point of the money, how the money enters into the organization and how the money goes out, and how what is the definition of a product. I think that is also something very, very important, because the definition of a product also changes from one enterprise to another enterprise. So try to find out what is that definition of a product which this organization has, and imagine yourself to be a BA and a PO. So try to put yourself into a shoe of a business analyst or a product owner, and try to write few business scenarios or business stories. Last but definitely not the least, this journey is not something which will give you success from day one. So learn to fail, keep failing and learn to recover from that failing. Just like a toddler, when he or she is trying to learn how to walk, the first few steps will definitely be very dangerous for the kid, because the kid is invariably going to fall. So there has to be a safety cushion or a net around the kid. The parents usually create that net, but the child still learns to walk, because there's a safety available to the kid which is there. So here also we will need a safety, that yes, we might fail in few of the endeavors when we are trying to build a business case, but over a period of time I will learn how to walk. I'll try to create those use cases which are there. Now let me try to decipher this KID model for you. And KID model is called as K for knowledge, Y for yield, and D for domain outcomes or domain value. So that is in a nutshell what is a KID model. And let me quickly explain to you. The K part of the KID model starts for the foundation layer in a pyramid. So when I talk about this foundation layer, I always say that the first few days in a new domain, you as a technology professional should be curious enough to get knowledge about that domain. And it could be through the Googles of the world, it could be through the Wikipedias of the world, it could be through reading literature about the organization where you're going to work, going through the balance sheet, the profit and loss statement of that account which is there, or that company which is there. So your starting point of the journey should be from understanding what are the bare bone structures of this organization or of this domain. And that is what we call it as the basic knowledge, or K in the KID model what is there. Once you have got that knowledge, you need to exploit that knowledge, or you need to enrich that knowledge. And that is what is the Y part of the KYD model, the yield part of it. Am I able to am I able to enhance that knowledge? Am I able to enrich that knowledge? And this can be done through one-on-one conversations with your product owner, business analyst, or your business lead. It can be through understanding the client pain points or the client problems. Try to have conversations initiated on that front. It can be through digital transformation challenges, hackathons. You might want to start with an hackathon, trying to come out with ideas to solve the client problems. Uh, Read about the competitor analysis. Who all are the competitors for this customer? What are the products they are building? Whether those products are better than your products. So try to capitalize on those areas. Then analyze the reports of analysts. So the Gartners and the Foresters of the world, try to analyze their reports about the industry outlook, what are the critical challenges the industry is facing, what are the known unknowns about the industry, what are the unknown unknowns about the industry. And last but not the least, regularly establish the customer connect. So if you go via this hexagon of this pyramid, either in a clockwise direction or a counterclockwise direction. The choice is yours. You should be able to generate a sufficient yield out of the knowledge, because just having a knowledge at a base level is not going to be sufficient. You have to enrich that knowledge before you can be called as a kind of a person who can work on technology solution, or building technology solutions for that domain. The D part of the KID model is at the top of the pyramid. It is, what are those domain outcomes or the domain specific matrix you are going to measure. So this is where it's like a shu hari state. Shu was the bottom state, ha is the middle state, ri is the topmost state. Now are we able to talk in the language of the business? Are we not just focusing on IT matrix, but now we have transitioned and transformed into business outcome matrix. We have been able to capture some of the business matrix which are there, and that's where we have started talking the language of business. That is the D state, and there is no time frame from which you can enter from a K state to a Y state to a D state. It can be as quickly or it can be as late as it can get. So there's no any indicative timelines for it. So to put in a nutshell, this KYD model is nothing but the journey from getting the knowledge to enriching that knowledge to, I would say, monetizing that knowledge in terms of matrix from a business outcome perspective. And what you see here is the full-blown model in that pyramid, which I have tried to depict. And on the other side of the slide, what I have talked about are some of the important outcome matrix, the business outcome matrix, what you can measure. So these could be related to the employee engagement. These could be related to the customer, I would say, retention. These could be market matrix. These could be financial matrix. These could be related to social matrix and product growth or product specific matrix which are there. So I hope this short intervention through this video about the KYD model helps you to get a kind of an idea as to what would be those tools and techniques you should be using when you're transitioning from one domain to another domain. So this is Ashutosh Bhatodekar signing off for the moment. Do share your feedback about this video and do subscribe to my YouTube channel, where now we have more than 170 plus videos to help you grow in your career. Thanks for now and see you again in the next video. Bye.